Welcome to Real Estate with Brenda K. This is the podcast where we talk about anything and everything to do with your real estate. Today we're talking about one of the most important and often least understood roles in the real estate transaction, the real estate lawyer. From reviewing title to coordinating with lenders to ensuring a smooth closing, your lawyer is the one protecting your legal ownership. We're breaking that down today, what they do and why it matters. So let's get started. So, we're talking law, lawyers, and real estate today. So I couldn't have asked a better person. Thank you so much, Suzanne. Tell us a little bit your firm, Scotia Law, and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thanks for having me, Brenda. So I opened Scotia Law in 2018. I've been a real estate lawyer for 15 years, and I love it. I love dealing with clients that are purchasing their first home, sellers selling their last home, and everything in between. I like dealing with all the different parties involved in a transaction, and it's great.
And it's nice, you know, what I really like we started buying homes back in the early 80s, and the lawyer that we had was great. He's retired, and I still see him. It was great. But at that time, the lawyers did everything. And I find now, like you specialize in areas such as real estate.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that, because when I started practicing, I thought, kind of the real estate lawyers kind of did a little bit of everything. I started practicing with my mentor, Brian Newton, and he did a whole lot of
Brian did litigation. He did real estate. He did criminal.
Yeah.
He's like my Blair.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he did all kinds of real estate. He did all kinds of different transactions. And so when I started practicing, I kind of thought that I wanted to do that, and then realized very quickly that that the market is big enough here in HRM that you can actually specialize in one area, and that I didn't enjoy the other areas as much.
Yeah.
So I started to specialize in real estate.
Yeah.
And it you get to know and be a specialist in that area, and know the different lenders and how, what you need for what, and who does what.
Yeah.
So it's been really good.
Yeah. Yeah. You can be good at several things, or you can be great at one thing. Yep. So I think you're great.
Thank you.
So you get an A+. You get an A+ from our team. So it's so funny, because I remember when we bought our first home, and it was 1983, and there was no legal review. It was a one-page contract, and you never saw the lawyer till the date of close. Oh no,
really?
Seriously,
like day of.
The day of. Back on the Eastlink show when Blair used to be here, we would laugh about. I never saw Blair. So tell us now, because I know as soon as we have an accepted purchase and sale agreement, the first thing we do is send it to you. So tell us, what is your role at the initial stage of receiving that offer?
Yeah. So when I get an offer, typically from the realtors, the first thing I do is open up the contract and look at my legal review date. That legal review date means that I have to have a peek at the contract to make sure that the contract the wording and the content is as it should be. It's got the right property address, it's got the right PID, but my dates are what I'm looking at, because I need to know, given what I have on my plate, then where this one needs to sit in the role. Right. So that would be the first thing. And then we're sending it for opening, and then I'm reviewing all the clauses in the agreement. I'm making sure it's got the right deed being transferred, or if it's a mobile home, that it's not a deed, that it's a general conveyance. That, again, proper PID, it's got the proper schedules, if it's water and septic, if there's equipment schedule.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm looking at all the different clauses.
And
HST.
As much as we know about filling out our forms, we are not lawyers.
Right.
Yeah. So to me, and that brings me to my next point, and one of the reasons that I'm so secure, sending clients to you, is you as the lawyer read it. And you contact our clients right away to say, I have reviewed it. It used to be, no news is good news. We'll call you 2 months when we need you for closing.
Right.
And that never sat right with me, and for many, many years I used Blair, and I knew Blair was reading every contract, and I felt comfortable. So then I I find you're doing the same thing.
So what it is, over time you get to know clients. And when I started, you kind of lean towards the clients that are your age or your kind of who you are drawn to. So I started a lot with first time home buyers and realized that they're really nervous. It's the biggest purchase that they're ever going to make.
Absolutely.
So whatever I could do to make their experience better and the transaction smooth for every single person involved.
Yep.
Realtors, lenders, other lawyers, it just worked. And I started fine tuning how I dealt with things and how I explained things, because it's all about people are already scared enough and they're already kind of like, oh my God, we needed a lawyer.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know they need a lawyer.
They think they need it for closing.
Right.
Like when we sit, like with my team, we like hyper prepare our buyers, as you know, of everything that they're going to have to know, but they still don't know some of the things you check. So help us out with that. Tell us about like doing searches for judgments, liens, encroachments. That's a big part of your role.
It is. It's a very big part. So the agreement of purchase and sale would be the first one. So that's part A of my of the due diligence. And the second part is title. So it's literally pulling the property from property online from the land registration electronic system here that we have in Nova Scotia, and checking to make sure that the proper people own the property. How the property is accessed. Is it public? Is it private? Are there easements? Do you need to cross over 3 properties to get to your property?
That's a big one.
Right? People need to know that if they have access over other properties, and it's a private road.
Here's a big one. If somebody else has access over their property.
Absolutely. So benefit, is it a benefit to you or is it a burden to you?
Yeah.
So those types of things, like you map out where they're going, what they're doing, what it's for. Is there fees related to it? Do you have any obligation if something happens? Do you need insurance for liability if you're going to own a portion of the road? Is there an association that you need to join if it's a private road? And then there's also the whole, like, can the sellers sell the property? That
was my next one, because you and I, we have run into times where you'll call me and say, the best friend everyone's got in CRA has a judgment against this property.
Yep. So we're searching the seller's name.
Right.
If it comes up in the judgment roll, which we find, then that's the point where you contact the seller's lawyer and say, okay, this is an objection. I want to make sure that your client has enough money to sell this property and pay everyone that's supposed to be paid.
Yeah.
Because my buyer is not going to take it on. My buyer's not taking it on.
No.
We're buying it free from any liens, encumbrances, and things like that. So all of those searches are done at the beginning, and then they're done again on closing. Because because essentially, if you've got an offer that comes in in January, I'm doing my searches. But in the meantime, someone that has their house for sale, CRA sends a judgment down or puts something on title
after it's firm.
Before checks are signed and before the last check goes out, all those judgment searches are done again.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, everything's done again.
Suzanne, if somebody let's use CRA for example, they have a judgment against them for CRA. They don't have any money to pay CRA till they sell their house. So what happens on closing there?
So that would be a conversation. Let's say I've got a seller and the other lawyer has brought me a CRA judgment, which as a lawyer, I'm checking my sellers as well to make sure. I don't want any surprises.
Right.
I'm checking to see if my seller has any judgments.
Right.
I'm contacting, CRA on their behalf and saying, we're closing this property. We're going to need to pay this out. So we're having all those conversations before. And that's when I would tell you, Brenda, we can't firm this up until we know that this is something we can sell. So that conversation happens before you go firm.
Yeah. And you and I just went through this about 6 months ago. Remember that property there?
I do.
And it was almost like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
Because you couldn't sell the house because CRA had a judgment, but you couldn't pay the CRA judgment until you sold the house.
And then they want to know how much you're getting, but it all depends on how much you have to give and what all the numbers have to. So everyone has to talk, but no one really wants to give their rights. Yeah. So you have to. It's a dance.
Yeah. What about, Suzanne? What about if they had something like unsecured debt? Like I remember one time I had a deal where it turns out they had a whole lot of credit cards. I actually didn't get paid on that deal.
Really?
They ran out of money. Yeah. And
On a sale?
It was on a sale. I had the sellers, and they had so much unsecured debt with credit cards.
That's interesting, because
know.
at the end of the day, the contract that you have with them is that you're paid from the proceeds of the sale. So I've not had a situation where that has happened.
There wasn't enough.
I've not had a situation.
So my only option would be to sue them.
Right.
Well, they had no money.
Right. And it was unsecured.
It's unsecured debt. It was credit cards.
Interesting. I've not had that situation come up.
Really?
Yeah, I've not.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. So
I've had that there were lines of credits that had several different portions attached to the line of credit, but it was all encompassed under the mortgage. But I've not had that.
Yeah. Because now when I do my net proceeds sheet, I'll put lines unsecured.
Okay.
So they can
You know, you're not getting. You're not. That
Exactly.
situation's not going to come up again for you.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to talk about today that was not prevalent when, and then we'll jump to the final step, the lawyer, but was not prevalent when I first started buying houses, and you can let us know when it did come into play, is title insurance.
Yeah. So I've not practiced that title insurance was not part of the transaction. It had I started practicing in 2010, and it was prevalent then. So I can't speak to when the big shift happened. I do know that a lot of the older lawyers that have been practicing longer sometimes are still asking for a location certificate or survey, and that's still part of still part of the clauses.
Oh, it's right in the contract.
Right?
It's,
if
it's
available,
right
without warranties or representations, like it says.
Yeah.
But I title insure every single one of my transactions because there's no location certificate or survey or title.
Tell because the viewers wouldn't understand exactly what title insurance is. What does it cover?
So title insurance is in place because there is no requirement for the sellers here in Nova Scotia. And other provinces are using, and I can't speak to what their requirements are when they sell and buy. But here, there's no requirement for sellers to provide an up-to-date location certificate or survey. So title insurance is in place to deal with any issues that could come up after closing that have to do with the marketability of your title based on whether there's any encroachments, whether there's any tax liens, whether there's any work orders,
property line
disputes, things like that you couldn't have known before closing. You couldn't have known about before closing.
Garages with no permits.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So a lot of what people don't understand, and I find that it's a question that comes up, and I tell all my clients, is that when there is an issue that comes up, let's say there's a neighbor dispute or something like that, the title insurance will actually require you to have a survey done because that's what they want to have to ensure that whether there is a claim or not. So you would have to have that done up front. But then if there's an issue, title insurance will typically take it from there.
Yeah, because I remember, because title insurance has always been there since I've been a practicing realtor. Okay. It's always been there. And someone saying to me, oh, yeah, but if you know about it and you accept it, you're not covered. Yeah. Now, the strange thing is when you and I did that one in Eastern Passage, remember last year? And we knew that the garage was a foot over on the other property, and title insurance, they did cover them on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you do hundreds of them.
I
don't remember that
one. I don't.
But because my big concern was like, wow, now I know.
Yep. Yep.
And I remember you making the phone calls and them saying, yes, if there's an issue, we will cover that.
But it's probably, were we buying?
We were buying.
Okay, so I was disclosing that to them.
That's right.
So as part of the policy, they were going to underwrite that, knowing that if there was an issue.
Exactly.
So that's how it came to be that they would cover it. Yeah.
Because you had got it together for us.
Yeah. So I basically, in those situations where I know about it, and if it comes back, and I would rather title insurance know.
Absolutely.
Right? And then they can cover what they can.
Because honestly, because we knew that garage was a foot onto the other property, if we couldn't have got title insurance, that was it.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been buying that property. Because, somebody comes along 10, 15 years later, and people don't understand. I mean, there's people out there that have gotten fines as high as $75,000 from the city.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Most prevalent for building pieces on with no permits.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. That makes absolutely all the sense in the
Or
world.
building something too close to the property line.
Right.
A garage had to be torn down.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I think too, it's who you get in the city.
Well, that could be too. And you would have more experience with that because you're dealing with the back and forth with clients, right? Like you're going back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah. I really worry about that. And then sometimes you go, do I want to ask the question? I really don't want to know the answer.
Yeah.
You know,
because it's undisclosed, right? It's things that are undisclosed, or you get it covered.
Or you would have no
as a
way
buyer.
of knowing.
That's right. But as a buyer, there's no harm in asking before your firm if title insurance would cover an issue that is potentially an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. And we only knew last year, like, because, was it last year or the year before? But anywhere where it was, that's when that urban myth I had of, as soon as you know they won't cover you because you made it happen.
Okay.
So
well, I'm glad. We can clear that up.
Always make it happen.
I try.
Always. Everyone knows Brenda K's team is a team of power women, right?
Right.
We're all women.
That's right.
We're all women.
That's right.
So walk us through the talking points of coming up to closing day. What are the steps that you're going to do to get this closed?
Perfect. So we have a very tight system of making sure that as buyers, especially, we have the proper documents that we need in order to make sure that the transaction happens on time, with the proper documents from lenders, insurance, everything we need. So we're making sure that we have mortgage instructions from the lenders. If we have buyers, we're making sure we have those, we're reviewing them, we know what conditions we need to meet in order to get money on time and get the clients into their house.
Just so that the viewers know, mortgage instructions, they come down from the lender and it could say things like, yes, here's their mortgage, but they have to have this visa paid off.
Absolutely.
Or they have to do that.
Absolutely.
Like, that's why we call it instructions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Get it.
Or, they need to confirm that they don't have any other interest in any other properties.
Right.
It could be a property in another province. It could be that they rented there. They need to confirm that they're going to live there as their owner-occupied house.
Yeah.
That they don't owe taxes to CRA.
Right.
So all of those things, then once we receive those instructions, we review all of those things and then confirm with the clients what we need from them. It's at that point that we book them in. We say, and we're very clear with our clients in saying that this is what's going to happen on this date. And then you're going to go here and then you're going to do this. And then you're going to come in and see us. And then this is how you're going to get the bank draft to us. This is what it means. And then I meet with them. I meet with them depending on their lender and who they're using.
Yeah, it's usually the day before.
Well, 3 to 5 business days. Like some of the
3 to 5. Okay.
Some of if I've got one of the bigger banks, it's closer to. If I've got some of the different lenders, they want 3 to 5 business days before closing to get their documents reviewed. So, but closer is always better.
So you're going to go over all the mortgage documents with them.
The commitment, what their rate is,
the closing cost adjustments. Like the only money that trades hands is through you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
They'll get a sheet.
Yep. They get their statement of adjustments.
I was going to say closing day adjustments. So tell us the different components of the adjustments.
So on our statement of adjustments, we've got our purchase price. Then we've got the deposit that the seller or the buyer, has deposited. Then we always adjust for property taxes.
Right.
Okay. So for that year. So if the seller's paid them in advance, the buyer's got to pay some back. We're prorating that. We adjust for any oil, propane, leases at the property. If there's tenants, then we adjust for the tenants, the rent, security deposit. And then we send the final number. Then both lawyers speak to each other about what the final number is that we're going to send. Then on the second page of the adjustments, we've got the closing costs. So legal fees, title insurance, deed transfer tax.
Oh, God.
Yeah. God love it, right? Registration of the deed, registration of the mortgage. And then, that math adds up and the rest is the closing costs.
Yeah. And when you are doing that, the day, just so that the viewers understand, on the day of close, and the day of close, when the money changes hands, keys change hands, I'll go do a walkthrough to the home with the buyers again.
Yep.
I will make sure that everything they said they were going to leave, they left, that there was no hidden damage.
Right.
They didn't damage anything just because you do an inspection.
Right.
And everything's working. I'll give you an example. Beautiful big fridge one time in a house working fine on inspection. Got there on close, wasn't working.
Oh, wow.
Or walk in a room and you see there's mold all over it that you couldn't see because there was furniture there.
Yeah, right. That's right.
So what we do then is call you you negotiate with the other lawyer
Yeah.
for a holdback or
or credit.
credit, couple. Yeah.
What I really like that you and your team do is you come with a possible solution, or this is what we're looking for. This is what we think we can do. That's really helpful on closing.
Yeah.
To come up with, the ways that we can get it done, but have both parties be happy.
Suzanne, any old realtor can bring you a problem. You need a realtor that brings you the solution.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like when writing amendments and they say, well, do this or a holdback of that. And I refuse to write an amendment like that because it gives the seller a choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. And I remember Blair saying to me years ago, on the day of close, if they don't follow it, it then shuffles back to the lawyers and the lawyers work it out. We're not lawyers.
No, absolutely.
Put it in your hands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you need help writing a clause, call me and let's write it so that it makes, it's
on
easy for everyone.
amendments.
On amendments, absolutely.
I have done that
absolutely
so many times.
Yeah.
Especially,
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well,
do.
you're the lawyer.
Yeah, I appreciate that because it makes it so much easier on closing. Because everyone just wants to close it on closing. We don't want to be fighting about amendments on closing.
And even the amendments, there's times with amendments during the deal, like during the inspection period, where I'll send them to you and say, I need some help here. I guess bottom line, the lawyer is the only person that can allow the keys to be released on closing day.
Absolutely. Yeah. When it's confirmed that the deed has been received and the undertaking to pay if there's any mortgages that need to be paid out, or anything that needs to be done, if there's a lease that needs to be assumed, all the conditions of the transaction have been met and the other party has the money, then the lawyer will send out an email saying it's closed.
We are closed.
We are closed. With keys
we are
can be
closed.
released.
And that's when we can release the keys.
That's correct.
And that is on the realtor. The realtor cannot release those keys.
Yep.
Yeah, as much as people. So I always tell people, do not, don't book.
No.
I'm going to start that over. And I always tell people, don't book your Eastlink or your whatever
appliance delivery.
Your moving truck. Do
truck.
not book your moving truck because depending on the bank, like RBC is really good.
Yep, absolutely.
Sometimes you'll say to me, Brenda, I have the money. You can release the keys right after walkthrough if it's good.
Yep.
But there's other banks like that one that you could be 4:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. It really everything is just so different.
Yeah.
And that's what you kind of get to know as you do the real estate.
Yeah.
Like you really have an idea of what banks are going to take. If you want a fast closing, okay, well, do they have financing? Who is it with? How fast can we do this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know what, Suzanne, we could sit here and talk about what you and I have been through and probably and I hope you'll come back
I will.
on another episode because I really would like to talk about, especially when you like divorces and, real estate separations and stuff like that, because again, that's a whole other topic. There's so much to talk about.
There is.
So I'll see you next season.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Okay.
Thanks.
Sounds good. So as you heard, a real estate transaction isn't complete until the legal work is done properly. Your lawyer ensures your ownership is secure, your title is clear, and your closing is protected. Understanding their role helps you move through the process with confidence. Thanks for joining me on the Real Estate with Brenda K podcast. And remember, when you're thinking real estate in Halifax, think Brenda K. Cheers.